NBA free agency is in full swing. Right when the clock hit 6 o'clock Eastern time, 3 o'clock here Pacific time, 1 minute after the deadline, a tweet made by Josh Hart. No big deals have been made. What happened to the game I love? And 4 or 5 days later, I still feel the exact same way. The biggest moves that we're talking about right now, aside from the whole Damian Lillard getting released and his contract getting stretched, shout out to Dame for getting that bread, and the addition of Myles Turner, is DeAndre Ayton being the new starting five for the Los Angeles Lakers. Is that something Laker Nation's happy about? We'll just have to wait and see, but in my opinion, it's just not enough, and that's what we're going to get into this video. But what is enough is the Houston Rockets. Honestly, phenomenal offseason so far. Anytime in the span of 3 weeks, 2 weeks, or however long it's been, being able to trade for Kevin Durant and not give up much assets. You're giving up Jalen Green, who had so much upside coming into the league. Dylan Brooks, not that much. You're not giving up that much to get Kevin Durant. And then also picking up Dorian Finney-Smith and Clint Capella, and you're keeping pretty much the majority of that second-seeded team in the Western Conference. You're happy if you're the front office. But the Houston Rockets looking good. I honestly just the whole Texas, the state of Texas is looking good. You got Cooper Flag getting drafted. You have that big, what is it, AD Clay, Kyrie Irving, Cooper Flag. You have that core in Dallas that's looking really nice, and San Antonio is just young, and they're gonna take a huge step once Wemby comes back. Just the state of Texas is looking good, and some big things are happening. What I can't say about big things happening is the Los Angeles Lakers, unless you count DeAndre Ayton as a big addition. So much conversation has been had about, is he going to be the right fit for the Lakers at the 5? Because that's been the whole conversation for the Lakers, about having that lack of depth at the center position. Ever since they traded away Anthony Davis, you're allowing Rudy Gobert to have 20 games in the playoffs and eliminate you in the first round. That's just not going to be enough. The Lakers, I feel like a lot of the conversation has been talking about them as if they're a play-in team. This is a team that was a 3rd seed in the Western Conference. LeBron playing really great basketball at the age of 40 years old. Luka Doncic coming off, what was it, hamstring or calf injury with the Dallas Mavericks. A lot of conversation about his weight, and then just balling out in the second half of the season with the Lakers. It was just the lack of size and depth and versatility at the center position. Jackson Hayes was really the only guy you could rely on, and that's not saying much. And they made up for it, kind of. Picking up DeAndre Ayton is that the conversation for the first couple months of the NBA season for the Lakers. Is DeAndre Ayton going to be enough? There has been a lot of conversation. He has had so much upside since coming into the league as a #1 overall pick, with Phoenix going to the finals, being a key contributor. We've seen glimpses of who he can be, an all-star type of player in the league, and then going to Portland ultimately because Monty Williams and the Phoenix Suns were just so frustrated with him as a player. I'm not sure if it was as a person, but in Portland it was for sure because of him as a person. There were reports that he's late to team flights. He's immature. He's not that great in the locker room. He's kicking chairs. His roads were iced, so he doesn't want to make it to the game, but that's a whole different conversation. And this is essentially who the Lakers are getting as a center. There's no doubting that he has the potential, but at 26, at what point does potential really become just who you are as a player? But there's no doubt that he has the potential to be a very talented big. He is a walking 10 and 10. Undoubtedly in this league, 10 points, 10 rebounds. But is it going to be worth it for the Lakers to get an attitude or an immature guy in the locker room? And I'm saying that this year for DeAndre Ayton is going to be a prove it year, that you could remain in this league and be a center who can be able to have a long-term contract with the team and not just live off of minimums and one-year deals. Especially as a #1 overall pick. Like, we don't want to have this conversation of him being, one of the worst #1 overall picks. So he's far from that, but not living up to his potential essentially. And that's, if you're the Lakers, you're gonna have to try to bring that out of him. And LeBron, I don't think he's ready for another a role like that. I'm not one to speculate if the Lakers like DeAndre Ayton as a person or how DeAndre Ayton is as a person. But what we know is that he's a 7-footer, 7'4" wingspan, or however long his arms are. He's a really great rebounder, a back to the basket type of guy. He's somewhat of a lob threat. He's a great help defender. Like, you don't really want him banging in the post with Jokic, but if somebody's man gets beat, DeAndre Ayton will be there for a block. It'll really just rely on his effort on the court and his maturity off the court. And I don't know the man personally, but we'll have to see and wait for that. But that has been the topic of conversation. And for the Lakers, honestly, it's just been at the center position what you can get. You allow Clint Capella to slip and go to the Houston Rockets. Brook Lopez is going to be a great addition to the Clippers. It's kind of just an off season for the Lakers where you could just take what you can get. And in terms of being able to trade and make a move, you don't have that much young capital or draft capital. You don't have young assets that you can give away. So it's going to be hard if you're Rob Pelinka. He's holding on to that 20, 32, 31 first round pick. That's the 7th grader right now. So it's going to be tough for the Lakers, but honestly, a starting 5 of Luka Doncic, Austin Reeves, LeBron James, Rui, and DeAndre Ayton, top 5 in the West, honestly. If DeAndre Ayton can live up to his expectations and hype, I'm not mad at it at all. But what I am mad at is Damian Lillard leaving the Bucks. I mean, Damian Lillard, all time, one of my favorite players of all time. It goes Dame and LeBron, undoubtedly. It hurt a little bit until I realized Dame is in a position where he's never been in his career, and that's being a free agent. And he's not losing any money at all. If anything, he's getting more money because his deal is getting, his contract is getting stretched, and he's in the position to take a pay cut and go to a team that's contending for a championship. And Dame at 35 years old, he's turning 35 in a few days. By the time he comes back from his Achilles injury, 36, he's going to be in a position to where he wants to win. I'm not sure. He might have to take that Chris Paul role, maybe come off the bench or something like that. But I kind of like the situation Dame is been in. I really did want to see Dame and Giannis really compete for a championship. I feel like injuries really robbed us of that. I'm happy for Dame, but I'm not really happy for the Bucks though. You're getting rid of Dame in return for Myles Turner, which especially if you're losing Brook Lopez too, which I'm not sure if that's that much of an upgrade. The Indiana Pacers are, I don't know how you let that happen. I know you don't want to go into the luxury tax and all that other stuff, and Tyrese Halliburton's gone for the year, so it was just very tough decisions in the front office. But you let Myles Turner walk to the Milwaukee Bucks with nothing in return. Kind of tough, especially after making the finals. Major setback, especially losing your longest tenured Pacer. We'll have to see what the Pacers do in the next coming weeks. But I'm not sure if this Myles Turner addition is enough to make Giannis want to stay long term with the Bucks. We'll just have to wait and see. MPJ for Cam Johnson, I like that for the Nuggets. You're getting rid of Michael Porter Jr., who's had really struggled. I think you got what the most that you can get out of him. Being a long, lengthy, defender, not really defensive minded, forward, but just the length and size in general is a lot in this league. You're able to kind of swap out the scoring ability that Michael Porter Jr. has for that defense that Cam Johnson brings, and Cam Johnson's a really good spot up shooter, 3-and-D guy. So I think it's a great addition for the Nuggets. Michael Porter Jr. going to Brooklyn. Hey, I think it's just, his time to ball out there. Him and Cam Johnson can, chuck up 30 shots a game, and hey, they'll be happy out there. Shout out Jaren Jackson Jr. getting that contract extension, and then, hurting his toe or whatever happened. I think the Memphis Grizzlies are kind of taking the OKC approach, betting on, John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. trading away Desmond Bane so they can kind of get, free up cap space and be able to kind of just build off those two stars that you have and surround them with depth. And I think they're taking the OKC approach, and this league is a very copycat league. We're seeing the Clippers with Big Zoo and Brook Lopez with the dual center. I will see a few minutes from them on the court. I like that. And low-key, the Hawks cooking too. I'm not gonna lie. You got Nickeil Alexander-Walker. You get Tingus Pingus. Solid offseason for the Hawks. Jalen Johnson, I feel like, is gonna take a big leap. Trae Young, I think he's waiting on that extension. I think if you just give it some time, Hawks fans, I think you'll be very happy going from a play-in team to potentially, especially the East, are just riddled with injuries. Really sneak into the playoffs maybe as like a 5-6 seed. You still got the Pistons, who are only going to get better. East, we're going to see some big leaps from some of those smaller market teams to jump into the playoffs, especially with the injuries of Tyrese. Dame's not on the Bucks anymore, but Tatum as well. The offseason is always a great time to be a basketball fan. A lot of speculation, a lot of rumors, a lot of drama. Summer League is approaching. We'll get some Bronny highlights in the mix and things of that nature, and hopefully Dame gets to a contender and wins a ring.